Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
We did not do an intro because, I don't know, I just didn't feel like it. Doesn't feel right. This is the start of a new season, new team.
Well, that's what the intro says.
I don't know why. I just didn't feel like it. It just doesn't feel right.
Just not in the mood. All right.
The 2022 season is in the books. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Boo. Well, I was rooting against both of them. I'm like Christian McCaffrey. They were like, who do you want to win? And he was like, nobody. Neither team. That's how I felt.
Yes, that's exactly how I felt. I had a friend of mine text me last night. He was like, go Chiefs. And I was like, is there any way they can both lose?
I know. Let it be a tie.
Normally, I root for the NFC team because it's NFC. Yeah. I normally do, but just don't like the Eagles.
You can't. My favorite part, though, was that they had the Hall of Fame finalists at the game, so Rondé was there.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
That's a little, jab there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really the Eagles fans that does it for me. They're just, every single one I know is kind of obnoxious.
They were rioting last night, apparently, or whatever. You know what they do after a win, a loss, whatever, Tuesday.
Like France.
All right.
France
exactly.
riots all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the Super Bowl. I don't know. You said, tell us your thoughts on it.
Oh, everyone, a lot of people were like, oh, that was the most exciting Super Bowl I've seen, which I don't know. To me, it was not. To me, it was very boring. Where was the defense?
I know. Eagles are supposed to have the number one defense. I didn't see it.
They let their opponent put up 38 points. I mean, you can't say, I don't know. And I don't know. Why did everyone think that it was exciting? Is it because of the score probably? And there were some big plays. So I'm thinking that might have been it. But to me, that was not, it was not entertaining to me. I mean, it was just a shootout. It was, one would drive down the field, score, the next one, just no defense whatsoever. So I was not impressed. And I think too, because I was mad about both the teams that were there. I thought it was going to be the Bengals 49ers. So I don't know. I mean, and it just kind of goes with the theme of the season, which has been kind of indifference for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's been my football experience.
Yeah, and I wonder if my whole perspective on this season is clouded by the way the Bucs performed, because it does. Mm-hmm. It feels like the way the Bucs performed is how the whole NFL season went for everybody. I felt like, look at the teams that just didn't do, the Raiders, the Colts, the Rams, the Buccaneers. There's a whole list of them that were supposed to do really good.
The Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos. And just didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. It's a very blah year. And
just an odd year. Too, all these powerhouse teams, kind of like ours, stacked with talent, and you had Green Bay, who's consistently been good for the last 15 years. Mm-hmm. They didn't even make the playoffs, right?
No, but Minnesota Vikings did, and they suck.
Yeah,
I don't know how they made it.
It's just an odd NFL season.
Very
kind of, and for me, the Super Bowl kind of I can't think of the word. The baby brain.
It's called old age.
You know what? Just kind of encapsulated the whole season where you had this game that was back and forth, and it really was kind of based on the skill of the teams, and then it was decided on a penalty.
Oh gosh!
So that kind of, I was like, yeah, okay. If I had to name one thing that would kind of encapsulate the 2023 NFL season, that was it.
Yes, it was such a horrible call. And
again, it just gives ammo to the people who are like, oh, it's scripted.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I saw so many people say, and people who were anti that conspiracy theory stuff were saying last night on Twitter, they're like, hey, man, I'm starting to rethink my position on this because it did seem, for one, the press absolutely has a fetish with Patrick Mahomes. I don't know what it is.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't want them to win, because to be honest with you, I don't want to hear them talking about how Patrick Mahomes is the next coming of Jesus for the next year, which is what's going to happen. You think I'm joking. The Atlantic, or the Athletic, I'm not sure which one it was. I know.
Probably the Athletic.
Said, it was the Athletic, yes, said, talking about the penalty and how horrible it was, and they said, we should be talking about Patrick Mahomes, who became the first player to win MVP in the Super Bowl in the same season since 1999. I actually heard somebody refer to it this century, which makes you think 100 years, but no, it was 1999. And then he goes on to say, he did it on a bum ankle, too. That's superhero stuff.
Oh, my God.
Superhero.
Cry more. What? No, an ankle.
We're elevating this guy to his superhero status.
Well, they did the same thing when we beat his ass in the Super Bowl. Yeah. They did the same exact thing.
Oh, yeah. It was offensive line.
It was the offensive line, and then he was hurt because we were just beating the crap out of him the whole game.
Yes. But they have this fascination with him. It's weird. I was kind of upset that he got MVP because MVP is designated through the press. They're the ones who decide the MVP. So you just knew it was going to be Patrick Mahomes. And don't get me wrong, I really like Patrick Mahomes. I like him as a person. I'm not a fan of his style of play. I just don't like that mess. I think it's
bastardizing the game and the position.
Yes. We're going to do a video on this called The Mahomes Effect and how it just ruined Matt Ryan, I think. But all these quarterbacks feel, and Garoppolo, all these quarterbacks feel like they have to play like Patrick Mahomes now to get that attention, and it's just going to get worse, Patrick Mahomes has got a unique skill set. He's able to do things that other players can't do, but a lot, they act like he's a magician out there. We heard that reference.
That's what they call it. Well, Chris Godwin called him that on the sideline in one mic'd up that we watched.
Yeah.
I can't remember when.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, he's got athletic ability, but again, we talk about privilege, it's a big thing in society, not privilege. He's very privileged. He come from his dad was a professional baseball player, so he had a leg up on most people, and his dad worked with him and trained him and all that good stuff. So, he's grown up as a elite athlete, and he had all the benefits that go along with that. I think, I can't remember who it was, author Talib, I think, said that the number one predictor for success or getting into the sports world is having a relative who has previously been in the sports world. So.
And that makes sense, too. If you look at the class that's coming, I mean, they all have, there's a lot that have famous relatives or relatives that were in this, Michael Irvin's kid,
Michael Pittman.
That's who I was thinking of. I mean, there's just a whole slew of them that have made it in the NFL here lately. Doesn't it feel weird to watch players that you
Yes, the Pittman one really is crazy because I'm like, he was just our running back. He's like got a son now. Right. He's been in the NFL for like 3 years.
I know.
Crazy.
But in like Pat Mahomes, like he's undersized for the position. I mean, there's no way if he didn't have a father that was familiar with how sports work. Mm-hmm. I think it's, it's the curse of now. It's just that it's hard to break into that field. It's really hard to get into it. So when you have connections or what it takes to get into a professional sports league.
Mm-hmm.
So, if Pat Mahomes didn't have that, I mean, based on just his play and his size, there's no way he would have gotten drafted by an NFL team or even especially like started for one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and let's not act like he was a first-round draft pick either. He wasn't, nobody, I don't think anybody really saw him as being this superhero player, that he's become in the eyes of the media. I think a large part of his success, and I'd love to see this, just like we saw with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I think we saw there who was the reason for their success. It was Tom Brady.
Okay.
Right, which surprised me. But Patrick Mahomes has got to give a lot of credit to two people, Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. I think without those two, he would be pedestrian.
Isn't it funny that Tom Brady, too, had a head coach in Bill Belichick and then Gronk as a security blanket on the field?
Yeah. But he didn't get Gronk till late into his career. And
yeah, but he always had tight ends, didn't he? Like Aaron Hernandez. I don't know. Okay. I'll take your word for it.
So, Patrick Mahomes, while, I like the guy. I think he's way, way, way overhyped. They talked about how he's the first, he's one of 5 or 6 players that have won the Super Bowl before the age of 28. He's won multiple Super Bowls before the age of 28. Of course, they never mentioned the fact that he just got beat 2 years ago by us. They just said, he won 2 Super Bowls. He's been 3 times. And they've won AFC championships back to back for years now.
And it's certainly a feat to get there to begin with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying the guy sucks or anything.
Right.
But I think he's getting way too much credit for, football's a team sport. But so anyhow, the number one quarterback who won multiple Super Bowls before the age of 28 is, of course, Tom Brady. He had 3.
Okay.
These are one Super Bowl.
Well, how old's Pat Mahomes? Because he's still got time to beat that.
I think he'll be 28 next year.
No way.
I don't know.
Oh, no, he might be because...
He's been with
Kansas because he won...
6 years.
What?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Well, he's only played for 5. He didn't start the first year.
Right.
He was behind Alex Smith. Which, again, that just shows how good Andy Reid is. He's done this with multiple quarterbacks.
But he couldn't get it done in Philly.
He got 1 Super Bowl there.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay.
He took him to the playoffs all the damn time.
Gosh, football time is so weird. How fast it goes. That Pat Mahomes has been in the league for 6 years.
I know.
That's just crazy. It still feels like he's a young guy, but he's technically a vet, right?
Yeah. He's 27 years, 149 days old. So he'll be 28.
Oh, yeah. So he can't make it.
He can't make it.
Okay.
So Tom Brady still holds that title.
Gosh, he does have a baby face, though.
He does.
He looks so young. That whippersnapper. Am I old? Is that what it is?
You're getting there. So the whole Patrick Mahomes thing, and another thing, he's very reliant on his legs, and he's an athletic guy. Those guys just don't last.
Yeah.
You're never going to see a 20-year running quarterback like you did with Tom Brady. It's just never going to happen.
You can't. And look at the ones who have made it, past 35, 40. It's these pocket passers.
Yes.
Matt Ryan.
You gotta be.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. At what point, though, if Pat Mahomes is still successful, do we go, okay, he's elite. He's
got to do it for 20-some years, and he's got to win 7 Super Bowls.
Okay.
Seriously, you got to.
I just have to, check my
benchmark.
Yeah, I just have to, check my own biases sometimes, because I don't like that style. I'm just not a fan of that style. Yeah. And I don't think you can do it long term. 27, though, that's a pretty good... He's still starting, which is more than we can say for a lot of these guys.
This is true.
But that's also true for pocket passers, too. I think it's just the nature of the quarterback position. So, I don't know. Let's check back in another 5 years, see how he's doing. Maybe we'll eat some crow.
We'll put a pin in that one. Yeah. Well, the thing I see with him is, he's not that accurate. When he makes mistakes, everybody just glosses over him. And he makes quite a few mistakes. Not good decisions. And he's really, really, really reliant on Travis Kelce when he does these broken play things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
it's Kelce a lot of times just improvising.
It's 80% Travis Kelce there. So it's going to be interesting to see how long Andy Reid stays around, how long Travis Kelce stays, how long the team can stay together, and if Patrick Mahomes can continue to have success without those two. I don't think he can.
Interesting.
But what do I know?
So what do we think about the Eagles?
Well, I wasn't impressed with them all year long. I don't know what the deal was with them.
I think the NFC, for one, was just weak. I mean, but their division was competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, they had...
Well, who'd they play in the AFC? South? Because
I don't know.
Kansas City, their division played our division that sucked. So that helped them.
Yeah. I don't know who they played. I want to say the North? AFC North? Baltimore? I don't know. It's a good question.
But I was never impressed with Philadelphia all year long. And, it's just kind of, I was kind of dumbstruck that they were as good as, that they had as good a record as they did. And even in this game, I was watching them, I was just like, I don't know, just nothing there that's impressive to me. The one thing I do like about Kansas City is they're extremely innovative on their offense. And they have play designs every week that you've never seen before. And they're always trying weird stuff.
Yeah.
And tricky stuff. And it makes it fun. It makes it fun for the players. It makes it fun for the fans. And I really like that stuff. That's one of the reasons why I want Cliff Kingsbury, because he's of that mindset. So is Mike LaFleur. And it's going to be extremely pervasive in the NFL. It's a copycat league. RPOs are now just spreading all throughout the league. And it's going to be the new norm here in a few. I mean, both teams, the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, are both heavily reliant on RPOs. But, this whole a bunch of trick plays all the dang time is going to be, is going to infiltrate all throughout the league. It has a lot now, but it's going to become the dominant thing, kind of like, the West Coast offense did for its term and all that good stuff. So you didn't see that with the Eagles. They're really just we're just going to pick up 5-6 yards running every time. It was kind of their thing.
Yeah.
And if we need a first down, maybe we'll throw for 6 or 7. What was... I mean, can their quarterback throw deep? I don't know. I mean, I've seen him hit A.J. Brown on...
Really, Ralph?
Yep. A.J. Brown for, quasi-deep throws, but I can't really recall seeing, deep passes.
Well, and they threw a Hail Mary at the end.
That's what I'm saying.
And
it
went
flopped. What was that?
Way short.
Did he get hit? Did he just was he not able to step up? Or was
I don't see how he could have gotten hit. They only rushed 2. I mean, everyone knew what it was going to be. And even his own guys were 15 yards from where he threw it. I don't know. I mean, I like Jalen Hurts, too. I mean, it's kind of like Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
How long has he been in the league? 3 years?
2, 3 years.
Okay, just checking.
Let's see.
And, the head coach had only been there 2, so that's impressive that they got that far.
Yeah, we beat the mess out of them last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
God, last year was our year. So sad. Not last year, not 2022, but 2021. 2022 should have been, whatever. Let me see. The NFC East played, the Titans, the Colts. The
Texans. They did play the South.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you were right.
That helps.
Yeah.
When you play the division with 3 of the worst teams in the league, that's going to help. So, yeah, not impressed by Philadelphia. I wasn't impressed with them last night. I haven't been impressed with them all season. But then again, I've never really dived deep into the Eagles because we didn't play them this year. So I ain't got time for all that mess.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. That Super Bowl summed up this year. That it was this back and forth game. There was hardly any defense, it seemed like. And then it was really decided by a really crappy call by the refs. I mean, they didn't call hardly any penalties all game long. And then they called that penalty.
Yeah.
And, people are griping back and forth about, well, technically it was a holding. And then it was Bradbury after the game said, yeah, I held him, but I was hoping they wouldn't catch him and everything. But, you're like, it's the Super Bowl. And that was a very defining play. They
have to be more judicious in games like that. And normally they are, and especially like in the playoffs too. The playoffs, they normally let them play. Mm-hmm. That was not the case this year.
Not during the championship games, mm-hmm. The AFC and NFC games, they threw that policy out the window. Mm-hmm. And in this game, it was like they were letting the guys play up until that point. And then you're like, wait a minute, you're not calling this the majority of the time. Why are you calling it now? Mm-hmm. And it really handed the win to Kansas City. It was really crappy. It was sad because you were looking at, oh man, we might have a chance for the Eagles to come back mm-hmm. and tie the game up, with last minutes. You want to see that type of stuff, but the game just ended in a complete fizzle.
Yeah. It was like very anticlimactic.
Very.
I felt like.
Very. And I'm going to say this for all the Schiano haters out there. Greg Schiano would have blown up those damn delayed kneel downs. They ran off close to 10 seconds of the clock because mm-hmm. Mahomes would get the ball, they'd hike it, and he'd stand there. And, he'd run off 3-4 seconds, and then he'd kneel down. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I don't know why everybody got so upset about Greg Schiano and that stuff. Well, they did because the media told them to. But mm-hmm. That's why you do it.
Yeah.
So they can't do crap like that. Greg Schiano would have blown up the offensive line and, made the guy have to kneel, and it would have saved 6-10 seconds on the clock for the Eagles, and they would have been able to do something at the end there instead of that crappy Hail Mary.
Right, they could have had a receiver in Jalen Hurts' range, so then they could have caught it there, stopped the clock, let him get 2 passes. Maybe he can get it down the field.
But yeah, I'm sitting there watching it, and they hike the ball, and nobody on the Eagles rushes, and the Kansas City offensive linemen are standing there, and Patrick Mahomes is standing there. And I see that too much in football. I've seen it with our team where teams just quit. They go, we're not going to win this. So
yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So play to the whistle.
Especially in the Super Bowl. Well, okay, so...
Oh, wait a minute. Before we go any further, speaking of Greg Schiano, Isaiah Pacheco, mm-hmm. running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, who played lights out. Schiano, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Didn't know that,
Imagine
did you?
that.
Yeah. Graduated from Rutgers under Greg Schiano.
Now that we've crapped all over the Super Bowl, there was the punt return almost for a touchdown. It was the longest punt return in a Super Bowl.
It looked to me like what has been happening with the Buccaneers this year, where there was a confusion on which side the punter was going to kick the ball. It looked like the Eagles thought it was going kick left, and he kicked it right.
Whoops.
Yeah, so they all started going left, and then you saw them coming right.
Yeah, and it was too late.
Yeah, they were all in this weird, like, vertical line, and the Kansas City guy was able to get around that line, and then he just had a straight open shot going down the rest of the field. So, that was a bad special teams play. I didn't see Kansas City did anything special there. It was a mistake. But then again, Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball for that return for a touchdown. That was an Eagles mistake. Mm-hmm. Kansas City didn't do anything there. They just picked it up and
capitalized.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Yeah. Capitalize on mistakes. But football is more about mistakes than it is about
mm-hmm.
big plays.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, list of quarterbacks with multiple wins before the age of 28. You got Tom Brady with 3, Terry Bradshaw with 2, Troy Aikman with 2, Ben Roethlisberger with 2, and Patrick Mahomes with 2. Now, if you notice, all of those were before the rule changes before protecting quarterbacks. I think they should have an asterisk behind every record in the rule book now because they changed the rules so damn much. And plus, we got 18 games now instead of 17 and all that good stuff. So it just distorts everything. And it's kind of amazing to me that these quarterbacks were able to do it back then. And we don't have more of it now.
Yeah.
Because quarterbacks are so protected.
Can I just say, I think the league so bad wants or needs a replacement for Tom Brady. Although I feel like they've never wanted to acknowledge what he is or what he's done for the sport. I mean, even when we had games where, in the Super Bowl where we're playing against Pat Mahomes and all they can talk about is him, not Tom Brady. And it's like every single game this season. I mean, there would be mediocre quarterbacks that they're just circle jerking the whole game. And you're like, you have Tom Brady right there. Like, talk about him, but I feel like the league has never wanted to do that.
No.
So many people hate him.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think Pat Mahomes, a lot of it is just the league trying to force him into that role, like make him be that next GOAT.
Yes.
Like it's easy.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you can just, like, again, how so many people approach the game where you can just plug whoever in to what position. Doesn't matter.
Yes, and one of the things we talked about quite a bit here is that Tom Brady's boring. He's boring in his personality. He's boring in his play. And it's exciting when he throws a laptop. That's what everybody's like.
He gives them human emotion.
yeah, he's like a robot.
Yes.
And it's hard to market a robot. But Patrick Mahomes is the exact opposite. He's got Travis Kelce, who's all fiery and loves to get in front of the camera and act a fool. And then you got Patrick Mahomes and you got his brother Saga and his wife and all that good stuff. And then you got Patrick Mahomes' dynamic play on the field,
and he's likable. Like they can put him in commercials.
Yeah, so he's perfect for the marketing machine. So we're going to have to hear about Patrick Mahomes for the next few years. I know.
And, it just sucks because it makes me not like him.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way.
I don't want to watch him.
I don't want to
all you hear is...
The slobbering over him is just it's way too much. Way too much. And when you've got quarterbacks like Joey Burrow, I really like Burrow. I think Burrow is a really, really good quarterback.
He looks like Macaulay Culkin to me. That's what every time I see him, I'm like, oh, there's Macaulay Culkin. I'm glad he found a new career path after Home Alone.
Yes. Lamar Jackson, he's a great quarterback. I'm not a big fan of the running stuff, but he's got more. He's a great pocket passer, too. I think he's a quarterback that can adjust from going from a running athletic quarterback to a pocket passer as age starts to catch up with him. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know if he's going to be able to. He's just not as accurate, and his decision making on the field is not as. He really relies on open receivers.
Yeah, but Lamar is dealing with injury issues,
right?
Like we talked about,
and I don't like his attitude towards the team. This whole, I'm not going to play in the playoffs because I'm not getting the contracts I want or I'm injured, whatever. I'm just like, You want to be a superstar, make that money, I understand, but you got to have some team loyalty too. I don't want you on my team if you're going to be pissy, kind of like Kyler Murray. So I don't like him. This is the way
Sidebar on that, did you know Sean Payton did not want to take the Arizona Cardinals job because of Kyler Murray?
Doesn't surprise me.
I know.
But he would with Russell Wilson. Although he was putting out things to get Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski to come there.
And I saw on the broadcast last night for the Super Bowl, Sean Payton and Gronk were doing a segment on Fox together.
Oh, my gosh.
Just a little, back and forth. But I was like, don't you start talking to him. That's tampering or something. Who cares? Fuck off. Leave him alone. He's retired.
Oh, no. Yeah, so, Super Bowl, I don't know.
I know.
I wasn't.
I'm hoping next season I feel better about the NFL and the team and all that. It's not looking promising, but maybe a little bit of time away will help.
Yeah, it's a new year next year. They'll come up with something to get us all worked up.
I do feel like this time of year it's like football fatigue.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I need a little break.
Yeah.
So
with the referee, and they got to do something. They got to do something, but they're going to do the wrong thing. I know they are. They're going to do a lot of people are saying we need to have full-time referees and all that. I'm like, I don't know if that's the answer and everything.
Right.
What I know is the answer is cut out all these damn rules, man. Just get rid of some of them.
They're going to make more rules.
I know. That's what they do. It's just like,
Probably
with software. Buggy software. You just keep adding software on top of buggy software. It's just
right. They're probably going to hire another referee to supervise all the other referees.
Add more layers of bureaucracy.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't know. And we need some more transparency with the referees and how they're. What are the safeguards that we don't know they're not throwing games? It'd be real easy to do.
Yeah.
I
mean, they already have it in place for the players and the coaches.
Right. So what do they got in place for the refs? We don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Well, and Roger Goodell they asked him about that, and he was like, I don't think there's a problem.
Yeah, best coaching ever.
Yeah.
But don't know, man. Something's got to be done because when we played the Kansas City Chiefs this year, 39, I'm going to repeat that, 39 uncalled penalties on the Chiefs. 39. That's a record. That was the most I've ever categorized. It was way, but they probably would have beat us anyhow. They didn't need to do all that. But 34 uncalled holding penalties. It's ridiculous. These refs have got to be more consistent and just things have to change because people are going to stop watching. Now, I want to talk about the Damar Hamlin situation. Speaking of people stopping watching football, I know of at least one person that's quitting fantasy football because of the Damar Hamlin situation. What happened was they were playing to get into the championship in fantasy football, and they had two Buffalo Bill players. Yeah, they had two Buffalo Bill players. And it was in that Monday night game, and they canceled the game, and he didn't get any points, and he didn't make it into. And I don't blame the guy. I'd be pissed too. You're like, I'm not even going to make it into the championship because of this stuff. And as we can see in hindsight, Damar Hamlin's fine. What if that would have happened during the Super Bowl, which we had the kind of the same incident? There was a safety that got hit by a running back in the chest, and the announcers kind of went to touch on it, and then they went, no. They were like,
wasn't that Pacheco?
Yeah.
I think got hit. Ooh, that was a hit too. And the ball was right here, and it looked like a rib thing to me.
Yeah. But you just think about if the same thing with Hamlin would have happened during the Super Bowl, would they have canceled the Super Bowl, do you think?
No.
Exactly. So it's this whole, some things are better than others, some, just this stratification of importance that is getting out of hand with things. A lot of people were upset about the Damar Hamlin thing in the sense that, it really screwed up their fantasy football. I touched on it a little bit, but I didn't want to go into the Damar Hamlin stuff because, of course, I'm a contrarian, and everybody is all, we need to.
Well, I think hindsight is 20/20. Like, it's easy.
Yeah, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, I thought he died too.
Yeah.
Based on the way that everyone reacted on the field, that's where I was like, ooh. And I thought for sure he was dead. But then they said, we did 9 minutes of CPR.
Yeah, so then you're thinking, well, minimum he's going to have
brain damage,
crushed ribs, and busted sternum, minimum, and probably brain damage. But then kind of find out he's fine.
Yeah. He was in ICU for a few days and then went home.
But the issue I have with it is well, I guess a number of things, but, you know, one, I didn't like, you know, I'm kind of old school. I don't think guys should be sitting around crying and stuff like that for every little thing. And when I saw them with Damar Hamlin and all the players were just, I mean, bawling on the sidelines and out on the field, I thought he was dead. You know, I was like, that's, you know, if you're crying out there, it better be because that guy's dead.
Yeah.
You know, and come to find out he wasn't. Or maybe he was on the field and they revived it. I don't know. That's the thing. We don't really even know the story. It's all kind of weird. But, you know, because of their reaction, the players' reaction, that's why everybody was like, cancel the game. Mm-hmm. You know, if everybody would have just been, you know, kind of stoic, they would have continued playing.
Well, I think that the players kind of tied their hands. I think the players forced them to. Yeah, it was all the players. Because, you know, they were in the locker room. Well, before they go to the locker room, the broadcasters on the game said, oh, they're going to give them a 5-minute, you know, warm-up period, and then we're going to play again. And then the teams went back to the locker rooms, and, you know, the NFL had to walk that back later and, you know, and said, oh, we never said that. Mm-hmm. And then I really think the players were like, we're not going out there.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that kind of bothers me. You know, it's like, well, that's not setting a good precedent. Now, here's where I'm going to get into the nitty gritty. Incentives matter. I say this to Molly all the time. We talk about it all the time. Incentives matter. You know, you do everything for a reason. And when you incentivize things, whether it be financially or status-wise or whatever, you're going to get more of that. You know, and when you disincentivize things through punishment or social banishment or whatever, you're going to get less of it. That's just how humans are. Damar Hamlin was an absolute nobody before this happened. I did a search on articles about him, and the only thing there was he got kicked out of a game against the New England Patriots for hitting the receiver in the head. You know, and he got ejected from a game for unnecessary roughness. Before that, there was a couple of articles on Bills fan sites saying, well, we hope this rookie can do something. You know, other than that, the guy's nobody. Nobody had heard of him before this. Mm-mm. You know, I bet most Bills fans didn't really even know who he was. Mm-hmm. So, you know, all of a sudden he goes from being, you know, a toss-away player on a team that nobody's ever heard of to now a nationally recognized figure. He's gotten $10 million. So he had this GoFundMe that he's had for 2.5 years since he was drafted in the league. And he had a goal of like $2,500. He didn't get that $2,500 until like 2 years into his thing. I mean, it's just, he went from not being able to get a few $1,000s for his charity to getting $10 million for his charity. Okay. He's gotten all these accolades. He's hanging around with celebrities now. He got the Alan Watts Man of the Year Award. Now, the Alan Watts Man of the Year Award is given to one player. It's kind of like the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, but this one is given out through the NFL Players Association. In order to get it, you have to win it during the week. Every week they give out a Man of the Year Award. It's called the Community MVP Award, and they give it out. Devin White has gotten it once every year he's been in the league. And then at the end of the year, the NFLPA gets together and they decide from the pool of 18 guys who won it throughout the year, which one they're going to give the Alan Watts Man of the Year Award to. Well, Damar Hamlin didn't win it during the year. He won it in week 18 when he was in the ICU. And he had done absolutely nothing for his charity. Like I said, it was, you know, he hadn't raised any money for this thing. And they gave it to him because of the hit and because, you know, he's now a national figure and everybody wants to act like, you know, he's the champion of this wellness and safety or whatever. And they give it to him in week 18, and then he wins it for the year. So this guy goes from being a nobody to being a national figure, getting millions of dollars, getting to sit with Roger Goodell in the Super Bowl, hang out with LeBron James. He's getting awards everywhere. He's got national recognition. He got a standing ovation at this Alan Watts Awards ceremony, at the NFL Honors Award ceremony where they hand out all this stuff. He got a standing ovation for the whole time that he was on stage. And behind him was at least 30 people who were medical personnel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which they did on the Super Bowl thing, too. Yeah. They had all the medical people. And you got to say to yourself, that's a huge incentive, man. I mean, we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of guys laying on the field and being, oh, I'm dying or whatever. Guys might even take drugs to stop their heart. What? You think I'm joking?
You think so?
These guys guys take drugs, testosterone, and anything they can get their hands on to improve their game so that they can get fame and fortune. Now, you tell me they're not going to do stuff like that? Some nobody who has no chance of getting, celebrity status through football, barely makes the team. You think he's not going to think about this?
I can see that.
Yes. I mean, it's probably not going to work out that way, but we're definitely going to say we've incentivized this whole injury stuff, And the worse you can be, the better. Probably if you can bleed, that'll probably be even more money for you and attention and stuff. So,
I mean, we've talked about the injury issue in the NFL before, about small issues, keeping guys out of games that 20 years ago you never would have dreamed of.
No, there were over 100 players that were held out of games last year because of concussion rulings.
Yeah.
Over 100.
Yeah.
So it does seem like 2 football teams.
This is like the natural progression of that policy.
And then we got the whole thing with the 49ers where Josh Johnson comes in and somebody, after he hit his head on the grass, somebody called him out of the game, and then somebody else said he couldn't play anymore. Coach had no idea what was going on. And to this day, we still don't know who did it. We probably never will. And we won't know. What? I mean, did he have a concussion?
Right.
What? I mean, is he fine now? I don't know.
Right, because they didn't move on. We never got another injury report.
Right. So, don't know, man. I think we're heading down a bad path with all this stuff. Horrible officiating, the Patrick Mahomes effect on quarterback play, the this whole safety first, where we're pulling guys out of games with no reason that anybody can tell and just saying he can't play anymore. And now we've really heavily incentivized getting injured on the field. I don't know, man. I think we're heading in a bad direction. So, and then there's the whole gambling aspect.
Right.
All right, you want to talk about some Buccaneer stuff?
Yeah, let's do it.
Buccaneers we have interviewed a lot of people for offensive coordinator position. I think 8 now.
And we've had a few come back for second interviews.
The tight ends coach for the Chargers, is that one of? I don't even know most of these people.
I know, and I can't keep up with it.
That's what we're here for.
I know. Well, I mean, I throw it in my notes folder, and then I'm like, days later, they're like, oh, they took this job, or they're saying, like, we had the Cincinnati guy, Dan Pitcher, come. So the last podcast we had talked about, we had an interview with him since he extended him so he wouldn't leave. So that was probably going nowhere. Well, then after that, we got a second interview with him. So it was apparently still on the table. And then now he's apparently staying with Cincy. So it didn't work out. It's the Rams assistant head coach we had a second interview with. And then he was going to go to Carolina to interview for their offensive coordinator position. So, we've had a number of these interviews.
Yeah.
What is going on? It used to be, that you didn't want to be looking for a coach in February.
I know.
Especially midway through the month, because you're not going to get you're not going to get a good one or who you want.
Yeah. There's the old adage of never quit your job until you have another one lined up.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like, they fired Leftwich and they didn't have a clue who they want.
Mm. That's true.
I mean, it's just kind of weird to me. I'm like, why would I don't know. At least have an idea.
Yeah.
But they're going with all these different guys that there's no rhyme or reason to their thinking here. But then again, it is the Glazers, and they like to do weird stuff and be all shady.
Is it the Glazers or is it Todd Bowles?
Right. I don't know.
I don't know. And maybe there's something to be said for being a little more selective but is it us? Is it we are interviewing all these people and they don't want to come coach here?
It's not a real big, not a lot of incentive to come to the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. Let's put it that way. You got a coach who could be a lame duck coach. He could be on the hot seat. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be. You do know it's not going to be Tom Brady now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus you've got a defensive-minded coach who is, from what we saw with Byron Leftwich, he's going to want to dictate how you run your offense. So, it's not very appealing.
I don't know.
Like I said, I could see somebody like a tight ends coach from the Chargers coming and wanting it because it's a step up. Something to add to their resume.
Right, and you kind of put up with whatever.
Yeah, try to get on that next rung. Mm-hmm. So, but we're not going to get, the high premium guys.
No, and again, what is our quarterback situation?
Yeah, we don't even know.
That's the biggest question.
Yeah.
And we don't, the major pieces on offense, running back, that room is pretty much set. We could upgrade maybe, but probably not. Offensive line.
Did you say running back?
Yeah.
I think we're getting rid of Fournette.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Too much cap.
Oh.
We could save money getting rid of him. We got to get rid of a lot of people. A lot of people. Cameron Brate's probably gone.
Yeah, Brate, Fournette, I think will leave.
Russell Gage. Golston, maybe. I don't know if his contract's up, but I don't know if we'll re-sign him. He's going to want too much money.
Okay, you're depressing me. Yeah. Stop it.
Levante David, I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
We're over $50 million over the cap. 35 of that we're going to have to eat.
And they kind of want to get the books in order this year because we have uncharacteristically pushed it down the road, which they don't normally do. We did for Tom Brady. But they want to get that taken care of. They don't want to have to keep doing that.
Right. Yeah, so I think we're going to lose a lot of people.
Interesting. Because I was going to say, our offense is pretty much set besides the quarterback position. But is it? I don't know.
No.
We'll have to take a deeper look at that. Whew. Now I'm even more apathetic. I'm I don't want to care.
Yeah,
it's going to suck.
With our wide receivers, I think besides Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, we ain't keeping anybody else. Julio Jones ain't going to stick around. We ain't going to have a number 3. They're going to be looking for him in training camp. Running backs, I think we're going to go with Rashad White and maybe Vaughn.
Okay.
Yeah. We're in rebuilding mode.
No.
Yeah.
I think
whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't think we're going to get a veteran quarterback. We'll probably get, I don't know, somebody like Bortles back or something like that. But some journeyman. But we're not going to get a Derek Carr or a Lamar Jackson, or we just can't afford them.
Yeah, and Derek Carr, he went to the Saints. He's still under contract with the Raiders. And so they were going to try to trade him, even though he's got a no trade clause in his contract. He can consent to one.
Right.
So he went to the Saints, kind of entertained them, and then told the Raiders he is not going to accept a trade to the Saints or anywhere else. And so now they had to cut him.
Yeah.
They're cutting him. So, and then I guess they'll take a hit from his contract on their cap.
Yeah, and plus that way he'll have control over where he goes.
Yeah.
More so, you know.
And he probably don't want to give the Raiders anything for it. Like in a
Probably
trade,
not.
they would be getting something in exchange.
Right. Yeah, it's all benefit to him to not agree to a trade. It's a good idea he had that trade clause in there. We did interview Todd Monken, right, for the offensive coordinator position. Now, I had said I don't agree with bringing back coaches and players that you cut or fired, and I'd said Todd Monken got fired. He didn't get fired with us. His contract ran out, and we didn't pick it back up.
Oh, okay.
So that makes me feel better about it. But, you know, we were talking about it, and I was like, did he call plays with us or not? I can't remember. Well, he was here with Dirk Cutter. Cutter called plays offensively, and everybody gave him crap about it the whole time. And finally, in his last year, 2018, he handed over reins to Todd Monken to do it. And, of course, everybody was complaining about Dirk Cutter running on first down, which is always seems to be what people complain about whenever you start doing bad during the season. It's weird. There's these weird things that people talk about, you know, running on first down, play action passing, motion. You're like, what does that have? Stunts, yeah, there was the whole stunts thing. But he handed play calling over to Monken and then took it back from him later in the season, and then handed it back over to him and all that good stuff. So Todd Monken then goes to the Cleveland Browns the next year. Freddie Kitchens was there. Remember the Freddie Kitchens experiment? He was there for one season. Well, Freddie Kitchens called offensive plays there. So Todd Monken doesn't have hardly any experience calling offensive plays in the NFL. I didn't realize that.
Maybe Todd Bowles will retain that privilege. Please no.
But I didn't know this either. Todd Monken comes from a huge coaching family. He's got like 10 people in his family that are coaches. His brother is the coach at Army College since 2013. Most of them are college coaches, but yeah, he comes from a long line of professional coaches. So Todd Monken, you know, that's I could see him coming back. I don't know, because he knows the owners, he knows the area. You know, it's kind of a step up for him, you know, going from college to offense, but it's not going to be financially. I mean, he's getting paid like $3 million down there to be the coach of. You know, he's not going to make that much here. I don't know. I think we're just going to end up getting a warm body in the offensive coordinator.
I agree. I'm not optimistic.
You know what I was thinking, though? What if Bruce Arians called offensive plays? What if he was offensive coordinator? You know, he's there.
Why would
he likes doing it?
Yeah.
I think he would prefer to do that than to be the head coach. Less responsibility, and he likes calling plays.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But I think it would be a weird dynamic between him and Todd Bowles.
Yeah, Todd Bowles would not like that.
Yeah. And we had talked about in the last episode, Bruce Arians, whether he was going to stay. He's still in the front office. And so he's preparing for the draft, apparently. So he's here.
He likes that draft.
Yeah.
He had fun with it last year. Didn't really pan out.
He can go and party.
Yeah, that's what he likes. The Bucs have re-signed Tom Moore.
I know.
That surprised the mess out of me.
I was real surprised. I mean, I'm not disappointed. So, between his experience and then his experience working with Tom Brady, I don't know what Tom Brady could have taught him, but...
You mean what Tom Moore could have taught Tom Brady?
No, what Tom Brady could have taught Tom Moore. I mean, we're coaching one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
How does that impact you as a coach?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it does. So I'm happy to see him back.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to need it.
Yes.
I could see us going with Kyle Trask, which I wouldn't be upset about. You know?
I wouldn't either, like, give him the
Rebuilding.
opportunity.
I'd rather do that than bring in, like, Josh McCown, who's now the quarterback coach for the Panthers.
Yeah.
They hired Josh McCown. But, when you bring in guys like that, Ryan Fitzpatrick's, Josh McCown's and everything, you're just like, are we even trying?
You think so?
Yes. And when you've got a young guy like a Trask, you never know what you got. But with Ryan Fitzpatrick's and Josh McCown's and Jacoby Brissett's and you know what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Johnson's.
The Teddy Bridgewater.
Mm-hmm. You are not going to get.
I agree. Yeah.
But then again, look at Geno Smith. So.
Yeah. He sure did turn his career around. Good for him.
Yeah.
He liked to see it. I thought you were talking about bringing them in as coaches. I'm like, I like the move as a coach. But no, I would not want another journeyman quarterback, which is hilarious because how many of those have we had?
Oh, God.
Fitzpatrick, just that you named, Fitzpatrick.
All the ones I named have been on our team.
I know. Josh Johnson.
Except Jacoby Brissett. I saw somebody mention him coming to the Bucs. I'm like, oh,
stop
God, no.
it.
And Sam Darnold. Ugh. Which,
Is he even... Oh, I thought you were talking about Sam Bradford. I was like, God, isn't he retired for 10 years?
I think he's just parts in a jar.
I know.
But,
metal.
Todd Bowles was partly responsible for drafting Sam Darnold.
No.
Yes.
What?
He was the coach when they drafted Sam Darnold.
How long is football time? How long has Sam Darnold been in the league? I thought 2 years. Where have I been? I've been in a coma. No, you gotta Google that, please.
Okay. So
God, I don't believe that.
It doesn't give me confidence about Todd Bowles bringing in a quarterback or drafting one. So.
Todd Bowles. No, Todd Bowles hasn't been at the Jets in 6 years. He was
drafted by the Jets in 2018.
Okay, son of a... He was!
Yes,
Todd Bowles was the coach.
And they went 4-12 that year.
And that's when he got fired?
And that's when he got fired.
Oh, go to the bus, Keith. Ralph.
Right.
Son of a gun! No! We're not going to get Sam Darnold.
And people are talking about if we get, who was it? No, I can't remember, but we might get, used to be the Cleveland quarterback, and then he went to
Baker
Mayfield. Yes.
Which is funny. We have to eat some crow on that one because we were like, we wouldn't mind before we knew Tom Brady was coming back, we were like, we wouldn't mind getting Baker Mayfield. And then
I don't remember saying that.
I said it. I have to eat crow on this.
I'm going to refuse to believe I said that.
And, watching him with Carolina, you're like, no.
But then he goes to the Rams and lights it up for a game.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But, how often does that happen? Where they're kind of looking for their shot and they play the best game that they've ever played and then get a contract. Who was that quarterback with the Packers? Matt Flynn. Oh, God. He had one good game. Yeah, he had one good game. Was, hyped as, the free agent quarterback that year. Got a fat contract, and I don't think started more than 3 games. I could be wrong on that, but
yeah, there's a whole long list of guys like that.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. So Brady has officially retired. He sent the paperwork in. Don't know if he's going to sign with the Patriots for a day and retire there. We'll probably do that. He might do it with the Bucs. Who knows? I doubt it. But
I think at most he's not going to do it with either team, so he doesn't have to pick. But I mean, he should do it with the Patriots.
He should do it with the Patriots.
He should.
The Texans interviewed Cliff Kingsbury for their offensive coordinator position, but they ended up going with somebody else.
Big dummies.
Which really surprised me.
Yeah. But maybe like that guy, he's never had a head coaching position, so, didn't want a former head coach on his staff.
Yeah.
Because when there's someone else
yes.
right behind you who has the experience and maybe you're not doing so hot, that could give a little bit of incentive.
Yeah, like with Lovie Smith, how he got usurped by Dirk Cutter.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Did Dirk Cutter have head coaching experience before that? I don't think he did.
No.
Yeah, it's a shame what happened to him. I really like
I know. I feel like he just got so disenfranchised with the league. And it was just I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
He was not head coach material. He didn't have the management capabilities, because that's really what you are when you're a head coach, as a people manager. And then he also had Jameis Winston, which nobody could seem to work with. Bruce Arians couldn't even get him under control. So, I feel like Cutter never really got a fair shake. Great offensive.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of...
You couldn't do anything with Jameis Winston. You just...
I mean, that's the nature of the league, though.
Yeah. You got to work with what you got.
Yeah, or get a new one.
Yeah. We got a new one. Tom Brady. Next year's going to be interesting.
This whole off season. Now, everyone's kind of panicking about the number of free agents we have. We've tracked the free agents for the last few years. And I'll tell you, this number of free agents, we have, I think, 26 per spot rack. That's not any more than what we've had in the past couple of years. Yeah. So I'm not really concerned about the number of free agents.
Yeah.
I am concerned a little bit about the cap situation, but I do have faith that the front office can work with it as they have in the past. I think we probably are looking at more cuts than what we've seen in the last couple of years. So that's going to be a little tough, but the nature of being a Bucs fan.
Yeah. The only free agent I'm really worried about retaining is Levante David. Rest of them, it'd be nice to keep him, but Levante, man, he's got to retire a Buccaneer, and he still wants to play apparently. So keep him.
Right. Like if we don't sign him, and then where's he going to go? He'll get
Carolina.
picked up. I know. That's what I think too. Like he'll get picked up.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He'd go to Carolina. So, I'm not too worried about this offseason. We're in that period where the other talking heads take over, the guys who love the draft and all that good stuff. So, we get to listen to them for the next few months, but we don't have a clue what our team is going to be like. Not a clue. So that's what this whole offseason is going to be about, trying to figure out what the Buccaneers are.
And I'm looking at, Ralph, last year was the first year that you pontificated on and someone you wanted in the draft that did not go.
Turned out to be a disaster.
Yeah, so
I'm not going to do it this year.
You should do it this year.
I should. I'm going to. Screw it. I'm going to pick a player. See how horrible they turn out.
So you can get invested. We'll be invested in the draft. Whereas we're not normally.
Nah. But we picked 19th.
I know.
It's way late at night, too.
I know. Darn it.
All right, you got anything else to say?
I do not.
We didn't say a whole lot about the Bucs today. It was just general talking. But got lot's going to happen this offseason, man. A lot. We got players that are going to leave the team that people are going to be sad about. We got draft stuff coming up. We don't know who is controlling half of our team at this point. The offensive coordinator position is completely, totally up in the air. And I don't think anybody's going to be happy when we do get the offensive coordinator. It's going to be some schmuck nobody's ever heard of. And everybody's going to scramble to try and find out about him. And then you're going to have half the people like, ooh, this sounds great. And the other half are going to be like, this is horrible. It's going to start a war that is going to last for years, as long as he's here, probably. That's how it always works. So who knows? Like Who's the tight end coach from the Chargers? Does anybody ever heard of this guy? Know
I
anything
haven't
about
even
him?
seen that yet.
Yeah.
And like, who are their tight ends? Does anyone know?
Yeah, right. Why is he so
like,
special?
there's your credentials right there.
Right. That's funny. All right. I think that's about it wrapping up for us.
Okay.
Nothing else?
Nope.
All right. Till next time.
Go Bucs.